one-timer, hit the goalpost, and Gustafson found it behind him, threw his glove on top of it before it could cross the goal line.
Former Minnesota Wild goaltender and analyst for radio and TV, the great Alex Stalock joins us at the Minnesota Wild morning skate. Philadelphia Flyers, the bill of fare this evening. Now, certainly not getting you to confirm or deny anything, generally speaking. I've been doing Box in the Box radio shows since like 2008. And generally, if you're like one of the last 3, 4, or 5 out here, well, that means you're probably dicey to play this evening. And meanwhile, Minnetonka's Bobby Brink with his former team in town tonight. He's out there. I know he got nicked up the other night, but I find it as good news, if only for one game. Would you like to know why?
Well, one of those 5 or 6 is Marc-Andre Fleury, too, and I doubt he's going to play tonight either, but he's taking some shots from
that's
it looks
sweet.
like a few of the scratches. So cool.
Bro, that's Flower?
That's Flower.
Are you kidding me? I had no idea.
Hey, he's been doing it since 2008. He was like 10 years into his career.
Yeah. Well, he was putting a ton of work in during the break, too, right? Like, he was the guy, if you're hanging back and you're training, you were shooting on Fleury?
Yeah, this is so good for the Wild group, too, and to always have a goalie in the net, because a lot of these times, both goalies might get off, and these guys just get forced into doing skating drills, at least to get to work on stuff. But back to the Brink thing, you saw the ugly incident that happened the other night. He went into the boards ugly in his first game back, or not back, but playing in a Wild sweater at Grand Casino, and the kid came back, and you don't know what is going on with him, but obviously it was an ugly collision into the wall, and to be out here still skating, and it looks like it's more of a bag skate, a conditioning skate that unfortunately he might not be able to go tonight against his ex-team and get an opportunity to go against him this quick. It's just unfortunate, but this time of year, it means, too, that they're looking for what he's going to do into playoffs, and they want health, and if he's a little dinged up, why not rest now?
Yeah, I mean, why I said that this is not the worst game for him to miss. It's not saying it's good news, but, at least the organization and the general manager don't have to worry about him being out in the by the hockey lodge sweating tickets for like 150 people, things like that. It was better when I thought of it.
Billy's also made a point of that, right? Immediately in that first media scrum upon,
Billy's playing fast right now.
Yeah, he
not playing fast with what he's put together, yet that he's playing fast there.
But he was just on. I didn't miss it. I didn't get to.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he made fun of Barrero.
Really?
He kept calling him Don Barrio, who opens for the Fabulous Sports Babe.
That's good.
That was high end.
Yeah, no, he's been on fire everywhere this year. Every decision he's made this year is incredible. And the first phone call when you found out Bobby Brink was coming here is obviously this is business. This isn't a family reunion. And understood. He's got years in this league. He's played in the NHL for a couple years now, so he understands what this league's all about and the separation between business on the ice and the family life and the friends, and they can take care of themselves.
So you're going to analyze the game, assumedly for profit, with the heir apparent, Anthony LaPanta, this evening. You've done a lot of work with Budsy, done a lot of work with Joe O'Donnell, calling games on KFAN and the vast and ever-expanding Wild Audio Network. You have a preference? Do you like, and you do San Jose Sharks radio games too sometimes. You like calling games on radio or TV, or doesn't it matter?
I like both, and with Budsy, Budsy.
Who's he?
He's the same person as Joe O'Donnell you just mentioned.
I got him mixed up with bigger Budsy, who's departing the arena right now talking to Taylor Heisey.
No, this is little Budsy. And, no, he's great. And our relationship goes back to, 2016 when I spent time with Iowa Wild. So,
you put me on the first great Joe when it started with Joe O'Donnell when he was calling Iowa Wild games, and he would come up occasionally to fill in for Bob Kurtz. And you and I being friends, as long as we have, you would text me saying, ask him this. Like his office
material
or his desk was in an area where he could turn one way and get the player set up, turn the other way and get operations set up, turn the other way and get Bobby Brink's ticket situation taken care of.
And turn the other way and book our 4 a.m. flights in the American League to San Diego with a stop in Denver.
Well, and he was truly, he's got the popcorn machine running. Like he's handing
everything.
Cotton candy, he's getting the soda thing stocked.
Yeah.
He did everything down in Iowa.
He did it all, and now he comes up here and he bosses around his engineer up in the booth. So it's great to see that it's come full circle. And no, we love our Budsy here, and he's great.
Did you make up that nickname for him?
Yes, because it
could be Josie.
No, it was the coach they had Torchetti.
Yeah.
They called everybody Bubsy or Bubs down there. And I was like, can we not call
John Torchetti?
Yeah, can we not call everybody Bubs or Bubba?
Oh.
Bubba, I think it was. It was an
Bubba.
Eastern thing. Bubba, everything was Bubba.
The elite Torchetti Boston accent.
Yeah, and Budsy can do it well. And I said, let's just change it up. Can I call you Budsy then instead of Bubby? Or Bubsy or whatever it was. And so that's how it started. And then obviously we talked about with his open door policy or lack thereof, having a door in his office. It was our relationship grew. And I just always stayed in contact with him. And now, obviously, to get the opportunity up here doing radio calls for the Wild, it's fun to see. And, he does a great job.
When LaPanta opens tonight on FanDuel, and he comes to you for the analysis of like, hey, tell us about the Flyers. Beat the Caps last night 4-1 with their backup goaltender, beating the Wild 5 of the last 6, including the Sheer 2-1 overtime, 6th game of the season. When you get a chance to talk after Anthony talks for 90 straight seconds, would you consider saying, the Wild are minus 250 tonight? And it's first
FanDuel.
The network's FanDuel.
I know.
Right. So, hey, the Wild are minus 250 tonight. I think that's a little dicey. Yeah, I think the Wild are going to win, but Vladar has a 90.5 save percentage. He's 20-11, and they've given the Wild trouble over the years. So I don't know about you, Anthony, but I'm a little soft on giving that minus 250. How would that go tonight?
Get him the plus 1.5.
But
I probably wouldn't be back on. I probably wouldn't be back on Saturday at 5 versus Rangers.
You know what, Anthony? That minus 1.5 at even money. that looks good. That looks good enough to eat.
I'd have voices in my headset talking to me. No, cut.
Yeah.
No, but it's a Wild team that catches a team on the second end of a back-to-back.
Yep. I got intel for you. I'm sure you know it. They're 3-6 on back-to-backs this year. In their last 3 back-to-backs, the Flyers, they've been outscored 17-7. So they're 3-6, but they've lost their last 3, outscored 17-7. So I know they've had a lot of success against the Wild, but back-to-backs with travel for them, man, they've been a complete disaster with that for the last 2 months.
Yeah, it's tough, and they're going to get in late. And I caught the end of that game last night, and Bissonette was a TNT game, and he interviewed Travis Konechny after the game. I think it was Konechny's birthday. I think he turned 29, but he mentioned, what do you want for your birthday? And he said, I'd like to teleport to Minnesota. So he was already thinking about the back-to-back. The game just got over.
The best.
What he's talking about was immediately just getting to Minnesota. Yep. It's already on their mind. They know they're rolling into a building in Grand Casino. It's so hard to play. They saw what Minnesota did at the deadline, and
with you
they're dreading this flight. And maybe they celebrated his birthday in a different way on the flight. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. There's that, too.
There's that.
So with everything you just said, the Wild just went to minus 270. Alex Stalock, 9 to noon.
I still like the plus 1.5 on the puck line, but we shall see. Hey, we had John Hines on earlier, and he was chatting about and really loving the idea that Kirill during the Olympic break got the chance to go home and see his family, and that any worries. I mean, probably there weren't any, but the idea of how he was going to take advantage of this time off and be ready for the resuming of the season. What have you seen? I mean, number 97's high end, I get it, but just what have you seen from Kirill since they returned from the break? A lot of guys trying to manage sleep and such post Olympics, but for him, just kind of full speed ahead, hasn't it been?
Yeah, for Kirill, it's the Russian team obviously wanted to assemble a team and play and be there, and he loves hockey, he loves competition, and he would have loved to be at the Olympics. But for the Wild, selfishly, for them, for General Manager Bill Guerin, for Hines, like you mentioned, to get rest for him, he plays a hard game. It's not just he doesn't play on the perimeter and want to play an easy game every night. He plays a physical game and plays on the edge every night. And to get time off for his body to rest, you see, it's paying dividends here already this part of the year. When games are tough, hard games, to put points away. But yeah, it's such a good thing for the Wild for him to get rest, and he's fully energized. And we talked about that coming out of the Olympic break. The Wild had a back-to-back right away, and it's like, the one thing they could trade for right now is maybe some sleep and some a little bit of break. And it seems so weird having however many days off, a couple weeks off, and you're asking for a break already. But having 8 Olympians or whatever it was, they came back and it was right to it. And obviously, having 3 U.S. members, it wasn't just the tournament; it was the celebration after, and that had to be a little bit tiring as well. And they jumped right into it, and there was no rest for those guys. But I do think at some point, once the standings probably kind of start to settle, if they do, and obviously Minnesota's playing for home ice.
Like
are they
going
to
with Dallas? Yeah.
Yes, but they're obviously going to. They want home ice, and that's a huge goal because there has been struggles in that building. It's a hard building to play. So if you can start obviously at home and get home ice, that's huge. But can you rest, a Boldy on a night? Can you rest an Eriksson Ek on a night that you can get away with it in some games? And you might see that here down the stretch. And the same thing with the goaltenders. How much is Gus going to play down the stretch? How fresh do they want him into playoffs? He got 17 games left. So is it something that Wally's going to play maybe 7 of those 17?
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm sure the goaltender coach, Freddie Shabbat's going to sit down with Gus and discuss, ideally if everything works perfect, we stay healthy, here's what it's going to look like. How do we want to get you rolling into playoffs?
And over the course of time, you played in this league, so kind of understanding managing rest over the course of a season. And that's been a bigger topic of conversation in recent years, now with the Four Nations, and now we're going to have Olympics. Load management, but this ain't a load management league, Alex.
No.
And so have you seen anything different where this is maybe how the team would handle certain aspects of a busy week or a clumpy schedule versus even when you played? Kind of an evolution to it at all?
Yeah, I think so. On the Wild have put themselves in a spot where they have the fortunes of doing that. There's how many teams in the league that are, can really say they're in. The races are so tight in some of those wild card races, they can't afford that. And teams are playing playoff games down the stretch every single night, where the Wild, if a guy's a little banged up, a little dinged up, it might be a night where they get a game or two off to fully heal, because once you get into the playoffs, there's no sitting out, no time for rest. So I think that's something Hines will take advantage of. And, yeah, you talk about this league. These guys don't want to take breaks. And you look at the bottom six, and, when everybody's healthy, there's going to be 3 solid forwards out. Who wants to give up their spot for a guy that's going to go in? And we love the way he played. Now you're in the rotation of sitting out in. And the depth in this team now, the addition since the trade deadline is so huge, and
nobody wants to be in the press box.
No one wants to be out, and you take a night off, it could be potentially, sitting for a few.
Have you, from your experience in the NHL, when it comes to decisions like you're just talking about, are they generally matchup based? If you're talking about a handful, what's going on, Kyle? Oh, the food has arrived. Come on over. We got meatballs. Uh-oh. What's up, brother? What do you got?
Swedish.
These are our new Quinnesota meatballs.
Really?
Minnesota, though.
Holy cats.
Good thing you didn't name it Brinka soda, but go ahead.
And the meatball hoagie, it's available on the main concourse.
How are you?
And a little bit of the proceeds, 43 cents, go to Quinn Hughes' charity.
Are these berries?
Say that last part. 43 cents goes where?
To Quinn Hughes' charity.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's great.
Wow.
So Hughesy is impacting the organization more so than just on the ice. You got Quinn Hughes Foundation or whatever it is, and you guys have teamed with them as executive chefs.
You want to go with the
where can we get these meatball sandwiches again?
On the main concourse by section 112.
Right on, brother. Thank you. Good seeing you, man. God bless you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Look
Meanwhile,
at this.
Stalock took one look at me and he's like, "You want to go with the sub?"
Why would you do that?
No, I just said,
What do you think?
He said you're going to have the sub.
Well,
What are
we
you
had
saying?
Budsy. You had bigger Budsy. You think he's big as Budsy?
Am I biggest Bubsy?
Now, where were we at for...
talking about the competitive nature of those battling to not be a healthy scratch.
Oh, and matchups.
Is it a game-by-game matchup deal or what?
A little bit. When you get into a series, you know what the other team has, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think there's certain spots that Hines wants to play guys. There's certain guys that are sitting out that maybe they're going to go in, and ideally they're going to be on that fourth line. They're going to be an energy. They're going to play physical, where if you get a Fabry or whoever, is he going to be ineffective on the fourth line? He's going to be more of a guy that's going to be in that third line spot. And it's just different scenarios. Special teams plays a huge role. I heard Kevin Gorg talking about that, and it's in playoffs that's so huge, and that's kind of been a point for the Wild as a penalty kill.
Third
in some
in the
of
league
these
since
playoffs.
the Olympics.
Yes, but in playoffs, it's been exposed a little bit in some of these series. But like you mentioned, you saw what Team USA did in the penalty kill in the Olympics, and now, not that this is the same group, but Faber was a huge part of that, and now the Wild has taken a huge step in the penalty kill department here post Olympic break.
Well, let me ask you something dumb about
they're
that.
90%.
So in the playoffs, though, kind of the trademark of the idea is a little bit of swallowing the whistles, and teams play a bit differently because of how much one power play or one PKL can swing a game that then potentially swings a series. So in terms of, does the refereeing change? How much does the vibe change maybe to protect yourself from certain special team situations once you get into the playoffs.
Well, the Wild this year have been one of the least penalized teams in the league, so I mean that's great for them going into playoffs, and those numbers obviously throughout the duration of a season mean something, and the refs will look at that. They're a lower penalized team, but I did listen to Bruce Boudreau on radio, who's coached in a ton of playoff series, mention that in the first round they don't put.
You
the
still got all 9 to Noon's albums, don't you? You ain't missing a trick.
Yeah, and he's right. Like that first round, they say, hey, we're going to play call it the same as the regular season. There's still more calls than you think in a normal playoff series. But I think as it goes on, it tightens up. The physicality picks up. I mean, you watch the last 2 Stanley Cups, 3 Florida's been a part of. They're a physical team in your face. They play a rugged style, and they never got themselves into penalty trouble, and that's how they played. That's been kind of the staple, and teams have done that because it's a copycat league. How are we going to get better? We get bigger, we get tougher, we get stronger. What do the Wild do at the deadline?
Are they all copycat leagues? We hear it in the NFL. We just heard it in the NHL. And in the NBA, clearly it's a copycat league because everybody's imitating load management and sitting people out and making games unwatchable. So, but anyway, go ahead.
Well, so you were up at Mile High for that Avs game, and sadly you lose in the shootout there. I think it was McKinnon with the dagger. But I think they were 5 for 5. The Wild were on the PK that day. I mean, you're talking just a barrage that you're potentially taking from the Avs. How fun was it to watch that game Mile High, as heated as that contest can be?
Well, yeah, that's going to be a playoff. It was a playoff atmosphere, and it's going to be like that. The Wild have Dallas a few more times, too, in the regular season. And I think April 9th is the final one. That game's going to be down in Dallas. It's going to be
it's here next weekend, though, right?
Next weekend, and then in Dallas, I think it's April 9th is that game. But Colorado's interesting. They got one of the lowest rated power plays in the league. I just can't figure it out. They're like 29th in the league on their power
Seriously?
play.
Wow.
Yeah, the skill they
Were
have.
they 0 for 5 that day?
They were 0 for 5, and the penalty kill did a great job, but Wally that night was incredible. Some of the saves he had were unbelievable backdoor plays that McKinnon gets these looks, and he doesn't miss unless it's the Olympics and misses the net. But it was a huge save that led to that Nico Sturm shorthanded goal.
Brilliant.
And a lot of times you see a huge save lead to a goal the other way. And you talk about the depth on this team, and it looks like Sturm's going to be out again tonight. But, it's guy scores a goal and he's out the next night.
That's weird.
It's just crazy how deep this team is and, the role he plays. But goaltending was unbelievable that night for the Wild. But it was the shots were 34-33. It was an evenly played game. Both goalies were good on each end. And then, McKinnon, who took a penalty in OT, didn't get the goal in the first 3. He went fourth. And
you're burying the lead. The highlight of your day.
What's these meatballs?
No, meeting the Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox in the bathroom at Ball Arena.
No, wow, where was I going?
You were in the bathroom.
No, I went down. I went down to the main level to try to find something for my daughters that I get on away rinks, and they it wasn't a great spread for Avalanche stuff. The line was a little bit long.
Yeah.
So I decided to go back into the elevator shaft area, and then walked Alan Roach.
Yeah.
Which Kelly Burnham.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Alex. I'm a fan from afar.
There was no voice. And I knew he did it in that building. And
how'd you know it was him?
He looked like if I pictured Alan, I was like, this guy has to have this voice.
That's fantastic.
And so I'm standing there, we're waiting for the elevator, no talk. He gets in, still nothing. He's on his phone and he's got his badge on.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to position myself and move a little bit in the elevator to get a look at his badge, and all I could see was ACH on the end of his. And I was like, yes, that's him. I said, are you Alan Roach? Yes, I am. And I was like, I have heard you on 9 to Noon.
That's great.
I'm friends with PA and blah, blah. He's, I've heard you on the show.
He said, excuse me, who are you?
Yes. And then he came in to talk to little Budsy, and went over pronunciations of our names, and then I got to witness it. He sat right below us to the left. He had the camera going. He had himself set up. And it's unbelievable, that voice. It's just incredible.
Yeah, for Alan, for the Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox, the one at U.S. Bank Stadium and Ball Arena, it was eye-opening for him. And I think he's done it before, but it was eye-opening being the Vox in Milan at those Olympic Games, and he's right next to the penalty box. So, I mean, he's ice side for like the fastest games anybody has ever seen. Some of those games were so fast consistently. Then he comes back to Ball Arena. He loves the job, but he's way up there. It was just a stark change,
It's such a difference, ice level, and Sorry, I'm trying to finish this meatball.
No, it's okay. No, I'll talk for a second so you can finish it.
It's
but like those two games I had the opportunity to call, 2021 or 2022 for the Wild, it's the options. I think it was Vancouver and Vegas they played. They're like, okay, well, you can do these two games, and you're going to do them from the press box. And I'm like, well, I would prefer not to, because if I scream Andy's loose, the last thing I need is 30-year Vancouver Canucks beat writer guy looking up at me and flipping me off. The last thing I want to do is have to walk in New Orleans for 2 days by myself because of something I said. So if it's possible, can I do them from a suite? And it was not the lowest level, and it was in the corner, but they acquiesced, and there were a bunch of people in there, which I like. You've been in the booth at Canterbury when a lot of people are there, or the Vox Box at U.S. Bank Stadium, and that lower angle bit makes, especially if you're doing something for the first time, that lower angle bit makes a major difference.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast the game is and how much space there is to, call a game from the lower you get. If people want to sit front row, you don't get to see the whole game, and that's why a lot of times when guys early on in their career, they're young, they get healthy scratch, and the front office or the coach will say, watch the game from up top, because it seems so slow. There's so much space on the ice from up top, and all of a sudden you get ice level, and you're like, how does this guy see this lane? How did that puck get through? It's a totally different game from seat one up to the top row where we sit.
Well, Kenny Albert is awesome at what he does. Eddie Olczyk, Boucher, all that. They're high-end broadcasting talent, in my opinion. But when they call a game at Grand Casino Arena, they're up right next to Heir Apparent. Now, let's go back in the day when I snapped a selfie.
They'll have the three-man crew, and Bush or Jody Shelley will be ice level. So for them, they have the three-man team sometimes. So unfortunate, Bush is so good.
Bush,
yeah,
okay,
awesome.
But here's what I'm getting at. When I first met Doc Emmerich, Doc, he's sitting upstairs. Doc was opposite the benches, opposite the visitors' bench at the top of the first level. And they carve out a niche for him when he's going to call games there, for him and the analyst. Everybody else does it upstairs. Nah, Doc's like, careening sounds better when you're down here as opposed to up there.
Yeah,
so Doc Emmerich has guidelines. Everybody else has rules.
There's a few rinks where they have the ability to get low, and I know in Dallas, for example, they're down off the main concourse, but there's only a few that have the ability to get down to that level, and makes a huge difference.
Stick around for another segment, all right?
We'll do.
Wow. All right, we can say goodbye if you really are that into those meatballs.
I'm going number 2 here.
Alex Stalock, 9 to noon, back after this.
Man.
That we want to be a real team, so not everybody can play every night. So I think the way that we handle and communicate with the guys that aren't going to be in the lineup, the guys that are not in the lineup, how they handle it, which is important to being a team, but also understanding guys may come in and out. It may be performance related or it might not be, but we want to make sure that everyone feels important and valued, because we're going to need, as we've said to the team, every guy in that meeting room, when we meet here in a little while, they're important to our team. We're going to need them down the stretch and into the playoffs.
John Hines, head coach of the Minnesota Wild, on 9 to noon, about 2.5 hours ago, talking about the depth of the lineup. We just chatted about that with former Wild goaltender Alex Stalock. And Bobby Brink and Nico Sturm, looks like both are going to be out tonight. So that just plays into depth of said lineup against a Philly team that beat Washington last night 4-1, had to travel. Nick Seeler. Do you know Nick Seeler at all?
Really well. Yeah, we talk about that 2016 experience down in Iowa. Nick was down there for a bit, and then we kind of came back up here at the same time and spent time with Nick up here. And you know what? You're going to get at him every single night. And, he's a competitor who wears it on his sleeve every night. He blocks a ton of shots. He'll fight. He's an ultimate team guy. And, when Tortorella was there, he loved what Nick Seeler brought. And now Rick Taka, the same thing. Hard-nosed player. Blue collar, coach, what he is looking for, what he wants, and Nick Seeler is, cut from that mold.
Well, you're an elite hockey mind, okay? So I follow it more than I think people would realize. However, I'm not going out of my way with the center ice package to watch Flyers games. I'm just not. So therefore, I look at this lineup and I look at their roster. I mean, you being an elite hockey mind and calling games on radio and TV, do you know like a little something about most, if not all, of these people? Like, for instance, who's Denver Barkley or Denver Barkey?
Denver Barkey.
Yeah, who's he?
He's a younger player, obviously, in this league. But they've transitioned. Owen Tippett's a guy that can skate for them, and he's had a good year for them. He can shoot the puck, and he's one guy that Konechny brought up last night on the postgame too. He said he probably got the best shot on this team, which he brings speed, and I think there was a stat they posted last night. He's got the second highest speed burst throughout the season, over 22 miles an hour, next to Connor McDavid. So he's a guy, the Wild defense are going to have to be ready for. But you look at guys like Jamie Drysdale, who came over in the Anaheim trade with Trevor Zegras, who,
Zegras is good.
There was plans in Anaheim for, them to be the core. And, Pat Verbeek out in Anaheim moves on two guys that potentially were, the face of the franchise out there. That's shocking. And they go out Anaheim. They take a guy from Philadelphia, and Cutter Gauthier, who did not want to sign in Philly for whatever reason, ends up in Anaheim. Now you get these two young studs going the other way, and the talk about Trevor Zegras, the skill he has. It's
Connor Gauthier.
Cutter Gauthier was drafted by
no relation to Sean.
No, Couturier.
No,
because they're spelled different.
Okay, well, I understand that, but see, I'm looking at Couturier, and I honestly haven't heard of him. But in researching some Bobby Clark Broad Street Bullies type information.
Did you see some pictures of his teeth?
Well, no, I haven't. No, but he's been around a while.
Yes.
He's played for this team forever, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's probably the longest tenured guy on this Philly team. And, he's played hard minutes. I thought you said you pulled up some pictures of him and Bobby Clark because he's missing some teeth, and he plays the hard way. But
Bernie Parent, though.
He wears the C for that group. And, bringing in those young guys, and now you inject Alex Bump, who gets to play in the Grand Casino Arena for the first time coming back home, who's already got a goal in his career 3 games in. It's a group that they're rebuilding. They need to get back in the playoffs. Philly's a hard market to play in. They demand success, and Danny Briere's done a great job of flipping the roster and trying to get pieces in. And one guy they're hoping for is Mitchkov. And he came into the year. The talk was, well, maybe he wasn't out of shape, or maybe in shape. He didn't have the greatest summer. And Tocchet's been hard on him, and he's the guy that everybody's wondering when's he going to turn into the superstar anticipated. It just hasn't happened yet. But he's another guy, a young guy that they're hoping, can be a core of this group for a long time.
You're not that far removed from being in the net yourself, Alex. And when you're looking and you're analyzing these games and you're looking at these rosters, is it like one of the first things you do? You're like, okay, let me see. This guy got the best of me. Ooh, I had a dominating performance against this guy. This guy didn't stand a freaking chance against me 4 years ago. You play that game at all as you get ready to analyze these games?
I try to do the latter and say this guy doesn't stand a chance against me, but then I'd always talk myself into maybe he does stand a chance. No, but you look down this roster, and it's a team that doesn't score a ton of goals. And now they're fighting to stay into the playoff hunt. But
are they really in the hunt? Is it still that
they're
muddy?
like 6 points back? I think 7 points back.
Yeah, they're dead.
Man, that's a lot.
Okay, so PA said they're dead.
I think they are.
No, that's what you said.
I'll give you 8-1. If they make the playoffs, my 8 against your 1. But you got to talk about it in the open of the FanDuel game tonight.
Right after that minus 250.
Do you look up and down the Flyers roster? Do you see anybody who scored on you? Like, has Luke Glendening never scored on you?
I think he has when he was in Dallas, to be honest.
Ristolainen's been around a while, hasn't he?
I'm sure Tippett has one.
Come on, man. He ain't got any on you.
Nick Seeler had some in practice. Noah Cates, former Stillwater Pony and UMD Bulldog, so that's exciting for him to obviously come back and play home. He's a guy that, he's a player that, Tocchet loves to have. He can do it all. He plays the right way, 200 feet game, and it's not going to be an easy night for the Wild. A lot of these guys are playing for jobs and spots next year on the roster, and there's going to be call-ups here down the stretch from the American League, and like you said, they got their number 1 goaltender going tonight too as well. So it's
Wild win by 3 or more tonight.
Okay.
Hey, this is super premature.
Okay,
but come playoff, like, what's the process now with fewer than 20? What is it? 17, 18 games left, where Hines starts getting into the mode of, okay, it's going to be all Gus Bus. it's going to be all Gustafson in that opening series, or is there an element of thought around how there could potentially be a rotation in the postseason? Because if
playoffs were to start today, it's going to be Gus. The way he's played since Olympic break, he's got like a .960 save percentage. He's a shade over 1 goals against. He's been unbelievable since coming out of break.
We harken back to like Manny and Dwayne, right? Like this dynamic duo, and it just feels like maybe it seems unrealistic that you would truly have a 50-50 split in a playoff series.
Yeah, I don't think,
especially with days off.
And I don't think that's the case right now. Gus is, as of right now, Gus is going to be the day one starter.
Gus would
obviously.
be the guy.
Yeah,
okay.
and you pray for health down the stretch for both goalies. And the one thing you talk about, though, is how long's the leash. If you go down and you lose 2 on the road or whatever it may be, and sometimes you look at cases where there's been rookie goaltenders that have came in and won Stanley Cups, and Jordan Binnington, Cam Ward in Carolina, Matt Murray in Pittsburgh, and sometimes it's just that young, and I don't want to say dumb, you're not aware enough.
They're
but
kind
you
of
just
ignorant to the moment.
You just
right?
go in and play, and like, I'm here to win a game. I don't care about Jamie Benn. I don't care it's Tyler Seguin. I don't care whoever
Robertson
or Wyatt Johnson. They all he's a right-handed shot. He's a left-handed shot. I don't care who they are. I'm just going to stop the puck and get a win and get out of here.
Hey, since you went down that road, and they have 2 left with Dallas, and it's hockey and it's age old. Where, with respect, home ice does not matter as much in this game in the postseason as it does in some others. It's such a tightly contested game, puck luck, stuff like that. However, be great to have it. With those 2 left with Dallas, and you mentioned Johnston, Wyatt Johnston, centerman, fantastic. Robertson, all the names you Ottinger. Do you think, or how much do you think the Wild is equipped for a series against the Dallas Stars? Because it's been a problem in the past. Now with Vegas, Colorado, and Dallas, hasn't been as much problem this year during the season as it had previously. But it's going to be that. It doesn't matter if it's here or there for home ice advantage. But what do you like about the Wild against Dallas, a veteran team that's just tough?
I think superstar for superstar, the top 6, I love where the Wild are at. They got 2 guys in the top 5 in goal scoring, and how often does that happen here in Minnesota? And the depth, you talk about the depth. I think the Wild bottom 6 compared to Dallas's bottom 6, you put them on paper right next to each other, I think anybody's probably going to take the Wild bottom 6, the depth they have. And you talk about home ice and line matchups. Are they big? And sometimes, yes, Hines, hey, what are you going to do tonight for lines? Some games, he's to be honest, I'm just going to roll him. And but you go into a playoff series, and he's going to have Eriksson Ek out there against certain guys, and he's so effective in a playoff series. But it's so tightly contested. You do get the last change, and you get a chance to see potentially the matchups that Hines is going to roll out in the game here in a week and change on Saturday. And then in Dallas on April 9th, you'll see what Dallas does as far as what they want for matchups, and leading into potentially, if that is the series as of right now, it looks like it's a high percentage. It's going to be Dallas, whether it's at Grand Casino or I believe it's American Airlines Center, and it'll be a telling tale to see the lines and the combos and who Hines goes with.
I don't want to speak for Nordo, but we've joked about it before. The last change bit. It's okay. He laughs because it takes place right there to start the game. Okay, but so many things change during the course of a game with matchups and you could be deceptive. What would it be? April 9th? You could be deceptive April 9th. Maybe they get a little intel on it, and then you come out with something different. But why is last change over the body of a game so important?
Well, if you watch it bench in a playoff series, you watch the coaches. And, when I was in San Jose at the time, we had Jay Woodcroft, who ended up getting a head coaching job in Edmonton. He's actually an assistant in Anaheim now. One of his jobs in playoffs was literally just to stare at the other bench. And I remember teams getting so pissed at him, they'd get a defender up and not allow him to see through because he was staring at the coach who he was going with next. You can tell a coach sometimes.
He's going Belichick on it.
He'd be, if we're playing Anaheim, you could hear him say Getzlaf's up next or whatever, And so now he'd relay that down to Todd McCullough at the time saying, hey, they're going to go with Getzlaf. Now Todd was thinking of who he's going to send out next.
Getzlaf's up next. Let's put Foligno in there to beat him up.
This is who we're going with. And that ref has his hand up, and then when that goes down, they're done. They can't change anymore. So now he sees he rolls over the bench, and so many times during TV timeouts, the whole bench is sitting down. They don't have anybody on the ice, and the coaches do as good a job as they can as hiding it. But, I mean, last change, you get your matchup every time. And
I got it.
What the Wild do, too, a lot of
times.
So
it's important.
If they have a third or fourth line shift and they're rewarding them with an offensive zone draw, you'll see sometimes Kaprizov get a bonus shift on that line, or Boldy, and you're going to see Hughes start almost every offensive zone faceoff.
Call a good one tonight and push through the emotion of missing Budsy on the radio, and just let the gifts God gave you come soaring through the microphone and have a good time, okay?
Minus 250.
Minus 250, no Budsy.
This morning, not tonight.
You'll be all right. See you, bud.
Thank you.
Alex Stalock, nice enough to join us at TRIA for a Box in the Box and Wild Morning Skate. Back after this.
I can't wait until tomorrow.
Yep, we can't wait until tomorrow because tomorrow is the Friday football.
I can't wait.
Jack Greenway, 5-2 radio to start. Alec Lewis joins us for the middle portion, 10 o'clock. And the analyst, Pete Bursich, he'll be with us for a marathon at 11 o'clock. And I wonder if we'll have any new or pertinent Minnesota Vikings-related conversation, given everything percolating and bouncing around about Kyler Murray and the Minnesota Vikings, which kind of shoved under the rug, especially on a Box in the Box day. For just out of nowhere. Aaron Jones is back in the mix. It's like Aaron Jones, okay, with Allen and Hargrave and this guy and that guy and all the restructures, you hear Aaron Jones is going to be released. But there was a contractual restructure, so Aaron Jones quite likely will be on the Minnesota Vikings next year with Jordan Mason. Wonder how that plays into our favorite football team drafting our new favorite college running back, Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I was talking about it earlier during news. I still think running back has to be a priority in April's draft, and I love Aaron Jones. I think the pass protection component of it, when we were looking at potential free agent names, it sounds like there was some buzz and some rumor behind the idea that the Vikings made a play for Travis Etienne.
Really?
And before he went to the Saints, and 4 and 52, 53, something like that. I mean, that's a big time deal, and the Vikings weren't in that mix in the end. But to that end, the pass protection that an Aaron Jones can provide when you're looking
Emmett
at
Johnson.
some of the names out there. It makes sense. You save 3.5 on the original contract price, so you like that. But I'm totally in on the idea that, okay, love you, Aaron Jones, but we must make running back a big time priority in April.
What if Brzezinski is going Baltimore Ravens on it? Bring back Aaron Jones, get everybody off the trail of Jeremiah Love, and they're like, well, no way they're going to trade up and do that. They got what? They did what? Yeah, and then all of a sudden he gets here and we get back the draft pick and everybody else is screwed around the league.
He's tricky Rick Rays.
Good seeing you, bud.
Possible.
Bye, Kara. Thanks for helping today. Kara Savage, Eric Nordquist, Chad Abbott, running the great ship Love Covenant, and I'm Paul Allen. Wild and Flyers tonight on KFAN. That's a Box in the Box presentation, a day in front of the feast. God bless you and all of your families, and thank you for listening.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.